Okay. We are live as I'm setting things up. All right. So, welcome to episode 39 of the Sunday Brunch Bunch. 39 episodes. Oh my gosh. And the 40th one is for probably next week, might be the last one. I might be taking a hiatus of on this particular series when we hit the year 2022. So we are talking about the year 2021 for this particular episode. I've got a lot of records to show. I'm surprised, but later in the second decade of the 2000s, especially starting around maybe 2012 or so, that's when I really started buying records again. And so I've got quite a few that were released in those years, besides the fact that I was also going backwards in time, buying records earlier than that, sort of redoing my collection again. So I've got a fair number that will also be good for Hi, Marcia, how are you doing? Glad you could join today. Um, but yeah, there's uh, quite a few that we can definitely do an episode for 2022 next week, probably next week. After that, that could be the end of this series. And all right, cool. See that Chris has got quite a few records pulled today as well. So we should have a pretty good. We'll see if Jason and anyone else, may join today. Tommy from Tommy's Vinyl Knot has been a regular lately, coming in from Finland. And so we'll see with that. But yeah, 2021 is a pretty good year for a variety of types of music. And all right. Look, Jason says doesn't think he can make it today. That's too bad, Jason. I have, in fact, the records that I'm going to be showing off first are largely techno and house electronica type releases. How you doing, Tommy? Good to see you also on there. So I'll be putting out the invite here shortly for you, for those who want to come join today. And good morning. Your contest is about to end, or did it end, or did you already have the drawing? I'm subscribed to your channel, but I don't remember seeing anything come up with that. Yeah, so yeah, Jason Wine. So yeah, if you can watch here, let me get the invite out so that we can get people up here and we can get started. Because, like I say, I do have quite a few records for this particular year, and we can get things going with that. But yes, CGC Vinyl, I was doing a contest, and I know it was supposed to end sometime this month, and I cannot remember. I know maybe a week or so ago you had posted a video reminding people that we were running out of time. So I can't remember if something got like that. The drawing was March 10th. Okay. All right, great, Christian. So hope the contest was successful for you. And congratulations to the winner with that. We've got Chris from Record Talk joining us today. So how you doing, Chris?
Doing fine.
Good.
Already like it's 2021.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it's like down in Kentucky, but today it is this beautiful sunny day here, but it's only 28 degrees.
Looking at my computer,
Hello.
Temperature outside, it's also saying 28 degrees, about -2 for the Europeans.
Oh, wow. That's really cold for Kentucky. I mean,
yeah,
that's crazy. So, hey, Tommy, how are you doing?
Quite fine, quite fine. We have here today quite spring-like weather here at +5 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's about what our high is predicted to be today. So
it's this
and
late.
It was quite much the first days, but you really feel that the spring is finally coming here.
It's been a really weird springtime, particularly around Chicago, because I can remember that we would usually get this like hot spell in Chicago in March, usually around St. Patrick's Day. We would hit the 70s, and then it would get cold again, but down in like the 40s.
We've had that, so.
Yeah, but this is crazy when it's like, in terms of Celsius, we're talking, negative numbers and so there's probably what did you say, Chris? It's like -2 or something like that.
28 would be about -2. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but
it crazy, crazy.
Last week, about a week ago, we still get like 10 centimeters snow here in Helsinki. So now snow is really much going away.
Yeah, I don't know about Chicago, but our prediction is by like the middle of next week we'll be like in the 50s and 60s with rain. So that'd be like between 10 and 20 Celsius.
Yeah, that's probably going to be somewhere. So the same front will be, sweeping across the Midwest and probably the same thing there.
Yeah,
there were some friends, Facebook friends from Australia who were recently in Finland, and so they were all bundled up. So it was cold wherever they were, but judging from their posts, they were having a great time in Finland.
Like a couple of weeks ago, we had in the Lapland, we have -25, -30 degrees Celsius. So it's quite.
Oh shit, that is cold.
That is quite cold, but not in here Helsinki area. It's the southern Finland. We have.
I think
-15 has been the most in the winter time.
Yeah, I think -20 is where the Fahrenheit and Celsius converge. That when it's -20, they're both -20.
It's -40 where they converge.
Oh, -40. Oh, that's even colder. Never mind then.
Yeah, once it's -40, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's no shit. Oh man. All right. Well, let's get started. Jason is going to be unable to, says he isn't going to be able to make it today. But Chris, you were saying you've got some records for Jason. I got some records for Jason. If he's still,
I have also.
Yeah. So
we can put all those records away, and then we have like 1 or 2 records left.
Yeah. Then we'll see if he's still watching, and then we'll have these homages to him and his the music that he shows. So let's get started. Chris, what have you got for us from?
Okay, so my homage to Low Noise Jason Skills. I have a techno record and I have a couple of cassettes to show. So I'm going to do that all in this round. So So you can see nice plain black. It's a group called Kraton. There's like techno on here. If you're wondering why I have this, so there's a friend of mine who works at the university who's an English professor. He does music. This is not his music, but apparently this is like something that a friend of his at another university does. And then our local record store, he had some of his friends' records, and I think the same takes place at the other guy's town. So that's how I got a hold of this. I have no idea if this is something Jason would have heard of or not, or if it's super obscure. It's all for techno for me, it's pretty much all of it's obscure. So, and then let's show some cassettes. So I have a group called Inconvenience Store, something random I got off of Bandcamp. It's basically experimental noise. It's pretty short. It's on this nice greenish. The color choices for their font is so terrible you really can't read it. But that's like a cassette that I got up for like $5 off of Bandcamp. I know that pretty sure that's a Jason Steele's approved move. And then the final one for this round, I ordered some records from Sahel Sounds that year. So around Christmas time, they sent me, the focus isn't working, but it says Happy New Year's from Sahel Sounds. So they sent me, and this isn't something I ordered. This is something they just sent to me as a gift. It's a sampler of some of the more obscure groups on Sahel Sounds. So a couple of cassettes and a techno record. And I'll probably get back to some of my more typical fare in the next round.
So the Sahel Sounds one, what are some of those other groups that are featured on that cassette?
I'll be honest. I mean, these aren't people I really know of. So here, I'll show it again. This is the little type thing they gave. So there's like Yassine Old Nana, Maman Sani. Okay, I know who Maman Sani is. He does kind of electronic music. I actually have an album by that person. Adama Yalumba. I mean, these are all just some of their less well-known people. I don't think a lot of these people have like a full-length album. I think some of the people that maybe like some of like their compilations of like the stuff that gets traded on like phone cards, these sorts of groups.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, whenever people would get together and they would have their phone signal, then yeah, there would be a lot of that trading going on. Cool. All right, Tommy, what have you got?
Okay, I would also
Finnish
take
hardcore?
No, I start with Finnish electronic music this time. And this is the artist called Malla. She's also actress, saxophonist, playing. And this is, of course, in 2021, but the record I'm waiting the most for this year is Malla's second album. It's coming out in 2 weeks. Of course, this was after Terveet Kädet new album, but the new album I have is the album that I have streamed most to this year. But this is very good electronic. I don't know what kind of electronic music it is actually. Little bit house there, and then I call it disco. But this is not. I think this is not radio friendly electronic music. So I haven't heard really only once of the Malla's new album, one song. So this is quite long songs here, and never been broadcasting. Okay, I don't know never, but in those radio programs that are usually people are listening. It's not.
So that's why it's probably not radio friendly, is because the songs are so long.
Yeah, songs are so long, and it's not so easy type of pop music that I usually playing, or disco music. There are some rap hip hop phrases there between the songs and things like that. This is quite much different. I remains like some like the 90s early not EDM, but maybe some techno influences also there. It's quite nice.
It's been a long time since, especially in the States, since you had radio stations doing an album format where they would play extended tracks and things like that. So radio, and at least in the United States, has pretty much been very formulaic for a long time.
But
There are some indie radio stations out there that you can find sometimes.
The new album of the Malla is more in the deep house genre.
Yeah.
So I was quite surprised that someone does that type of music here in Finland at all.
Yeah. All right. Well,
it's really good. But that was my electronic one, and rest is going to be hardcore and punk and something else.
Okay.
Probably.
Well, I guess I don't know if this is going to be like deep house or whatever, but this is a record that it's a techno record. Hold it up here. This is Terrence Dixon reporting from Detroit. So it's a 45 RPM. What is it? Is it a double? It's a double record set, and so he's been a producer, and he's been doing acid house since about the 90s, and he announced his retirement in 2014, but nonetheless, this album was released in 2021. So we got some. The new house, the new acid house, new techno. When I first started picking up these records, it was a bit different than what I was accustomed to from the early 2000s and in the 1990s. But this one has really grown on me. And I really like this one. And, it's got some pretty good, the opening track on 7 Mile All Night, which, if you're familiar with Detroit, 7 Mile Road starts in the heart of Detroit, and then it goes westward all the way out to the suburbs. And there's a quarter. I mean, other Detroit rappers and things like that, have sung about 8 Mile Road. That's probably a more famous one, but 7 Mile Road is, that goes through some very rough areas of Detroit, and it's a road that, if you started where it begins and then just drove west, you'd be on a very long drive. But it's really good works on here. Dexter and Joy at Night reporting from Detroit, the title song. So yeah, this is good techno, sort of acid house as well. Reporting from Detroit by Terrence Dixon. So that's what I'm starting off with. I got some other techno and house records coming up too.
Excellent.
Chris,
remember that I have also another electronic album here.
All right. I'm going to steal a gimmick from another show. I'm going to do a round of bottoms.
Okay.
So some records I didn't like so much from 2021. So this is something I got at an antique mall for cheap, sealed. It's Dolly Parton, A Holly Dolly Christmas. Sounds like
they make you big. I forgot here.
It sounds like it'd be something fun to listen to around Christmas time. It's a terrible pressing. It's pretty mediocre. Just seems like it was slapped together because they feel like they should have a Christmas album. I know even Craig at Craig's Vinyl Plethora doesn't like it, and he's a huge Dolly fan. So then one of my favorite groups who I've been a completist on as far as studio albums, Sleater-Kinney. This was their most recent album called Path of Wellness. So this is after they got rid of their awesome drummer, Janet Weiss. And this is just boring, sleep. Sleater-Kinney's no longer on the you announce a new album, I automatically pre-order it list. And then finally, let's show some metal. We got Iron Maiden Sujutsu. So disc 1 is just fine. So disc 1 is a perfectly good Iron Maiden album. Disc 2 has all the long pseudo epics, and somebody needs to tell Steve Harris that just because he writes a 12-minute long song doesn't mean that anyone else in the world wants to hear it.
Oops, wrong way here. There we go. I have heard other negative things from that Iron Maiden, from Iron Maiden fans, and
this would literally be better if they had thrown away the second disc and just put it out as a 1 CD record. I think it's 3 LPs if you'd gotten the vinyl version. But I didn't get the vinyl version because I suspected I wasn't going to like it enough for the vinyl version, and I think I was right. So,
too bad.
So,
but then again, that's probably one that I wouldn't necessarily buy anyway because I've never really been an Iron Maiden fan.
Probably not. Do you like Maiden, Tommy, or?
No.
Okay.
Those early 80s Maiden they're good songs. Nice to listen by now and then, but not. I don't have any record. I'm not going to have any record.
Yeah.
Maybe if I can find like €1 CD, that I could want.
And they have such a legacy too. I mean,
yeah.
So,
and honestly, somebody who was going to get started with Maiden, I would just tell them to buy like the obvious stuff from the 80s, and that's probably enough for most people.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tommy, what have you got?
Yeah, I have actually another electronic album here. This band called Modem. And the band is Ville Valavuo that does like piano and guitar and basso, and then the Tytti, what is his name? Tytti Roto is singing and also piano, and then there's David that drums and percussions, and David is like a drum machine. It's no actual person. So this is their first maxi single. They have 2 maxi singles up. And they're doing like synthesization music. That is like, this one is very much like in the early 80s, like early maybe Duran Duran, but a lot of darker and what kind of Human League and what kind of those bands that were popular back then. But a lot of darker stuff, and the name of the songs are here, elokuvia and out of it like films and out of fiction, and this was quite nicely done package because here is this was blue red this inner, what is this inner sleeve, it's red and it's matched with the color of the cover text. And Ville Valavuo is more known in hardcore and thrash metal bands like Kohti Tuhoa and Forestin, so this is completely different type of music. And they have another maxi out that is, I think it's almost equal as good as this. This was for 2021. This is one of my favorite records from that year.
Sorry, my mic was muted. Again, what was the name?
Modem. I write it down here. Modem, it's the name.
I know. Every time you come on, I'm always hearing about like bands and artists that I have no knowledge about. It's always great to hear people talk about stuff.
If you like this 80s style of pop electronic music, this is quite much in the same vein. Really well made album.
All right. Well, moving on with some more house techno. This is these are remixes. Okay, so this is Tyree Cooper Classic Rewind Volume 1. All right, so again, this is 4 songs, so it's an EP. These are remixes of his classics from the 1980s, Acid House. Um, he is a DJ and producer from Chicago. I get two different bits of information. Um, in the Discogs, they say he now lives in Las Vegas, but the wiki on Tyree Cooper says that he's now a resident of Berlin. So I don't know, where he is, but again, this is uh, even he's a Chicago producer, even though it does say that it's Upstairs Asylum Records in Detroit, which was a pretty famous label producer of house and acid house music in the 80s and 90s. So again, these are good, strong records that I've really enjoyed. Been expanding that part of my collection. You got the label with his photo on it. Yeah, I've been expanding my collection with this particular genre of music. And it's really interesting, the stuff that I find and have been listening to. So, in the Upstairs Asylum Records, I guess is a fairly well-known label out of Detroit that specializes in that type of music. So, maybe, yeah, well, let me show one more because I do have a lot of records. So I want to make sure that I'm going to get through them. This guy, I don't know a whole lot about, but I ordered this to fill out an order so it could get free shipping, right? And I did listen to it online first, and I liked what I was hearing. And this guy he goes by the name Screw. And this is one of his newer releases, might be his newest one, South Wind Clear Sky. Now, Screw is a Russian producer and DJ. And as far as there's just not a lot of information about him. The music is kind of a jazzy hip hop feel to it. And he, even some of the titles of the songs, like Who Has the Jazz, on Rain in a Bamboo Grove. It's good music, but again, I don't know very much about him. I've tried to find some information about him. I don't know if he is he still in Russia, because I don't know what his politics are, but apparently he's a resident DJ at some club in Moscow as well, which kind of raises up, in my mind anyway, potential red flags that this guy might be in Putin's pocket or something like that. I don't know. The music is good, and it certainly was a really nice discovery for me, and I've enjoyed that. And it's an EP. It's a 33 RPM EP because there's 3 songs on side A and three songs inside B. But yeah, if anybody in the Peanut Gallery, or after this gets posted and people watch this, if you've got any information, a little more knowledge about who this guy Screw is, that's his stage name. He has Tommy just disappeared. I don't know what happened. But yeah, let us know in that, help us figure out who this person is. And modem is the name, like a modem that Tommy was.
I can't help you with Screw.
Yeah, it's just the music. I like it. It's and he's been producing. Not too many are on like vinyl 12-inch. But he's got a pretty extensive catalog, and in Europe, I'm sure he's relatively well known. So, but anyway, yeah, I don't know what happened to Tommy. He just He's trying to log back in. Okay, so he must have dropped his. Yeah, you disappeared on us there for a second, Tommy. And you're frozen, or you're not. Oh, you blinked. Okay, so now I know that you're not frozen, but there must be some technical issues going on, and so we'll. Can you hear us? Are you
Yeah,
there?
I somehow drop away. Maybe my son started to play PlayStation and take
Yeah.
off.
Well, you see now, last week it wasn't bad, but we last night we were taping our next episode of the Gunkles, and I was having all kinds of wireless connection problems. I ended up switching devices for recording, and that helped a little bit. But anyway, glad to have you back. So, Chris, before we move on, have you ever heard of this name Screw, this Russian DJ and
Yeah,
producer?
seen problems.
Oh no, he's still having issues. All right, well then, Chris, what have you got for us?
All right, so Christopher dumped a bunch. He put his top 10 in the chat box and asked us for some thoughts. You missed your number 4, by the way, Christopher. So obviously, I talked about Maiden. I like half the record. I don't like the other half of the record. That band Tidal Wave that you described as Swedish stoner that sound like a mix of Sabbath, Alice in Chains, and Fuzz sounds awesome to me. So I've kind of noted that on my list. I'll admit to not being a fan of Dream Theater at all. I've tried. But I'm going to show what I, back at the beginning of 2022, I said was my favorite record of 2021. The band, a UK band called Squid, with their album Bright Green Field.
I've heard of Squid.
It's a double record. It was also Rob Walker's favorite record of the year, for whatever that's worth. And so it's kind of a combination of like post-punk, post-rock. There's little jazzy elements in it, almost spoken word, weird sort of vocals, but they were very cool. They had some pretty entertaining videos. The song Narrator, I think they did one for the song Pamphlets, some pretty trippy videos that went along with this. Hi, Ed and Christopher and Marcia and Christian and whoever else may be out there in the box. And so I didn't actually revisit my top 10 of 2021, so I don't remember the whole list, but I do remember that I put this at number 1. So I figured I would mention it before I forgot.
I only know a couple of the lists that Christopher put in there. I mean, I've heard of the psychedelic porn crumpets, but I really don't know anything about them. Now, Tidal Wave was a series of dance music that was put out by, and I can't remember who the DJ is or was, which I have burned on CD, but I'm sure that's not what you're talking about. And of course, he's got the Iron Maiden in there, but yeah, many of these I don't know anything about them. Probably in Dream Theater, I also know about, but yeah, no, I guess I never really. I can't say I dislike them. I just never really paid attention to them, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because I heard something by them and it just didn't. I was kind of meh. But yeah, anyway. So Tommy's backstage, but I can't see anything. So I'm bringing him up.
Yeah, here.
Oh, okay.
I got.
You changed locations, huh?
Yeah, I hope this works out now. I try to put my another camera. It's better one than this.
Christopher's putting in his 11 through 20. I've heard of Wolf and Alice. That's about it from his list that I've heard of.
Yeah, and the next 10 up to 20. Yeah, none of these. None of these.
Okay.
I've ever heard of.
Hopefully I don't drop away again.
But I have here actually a couple compilation from 2021, and this is for Christopher. It's Greetings from Sweden that I bought last year. Guaranteed Hardcore Volume 1, and this is compilation of Swedish new hardcore bands around Sweden, and actually I know a couple of the bands before, like Obnoxious Youth and Vidro. And Vidro is the band that I was most interested in. This one and maybe the best band on here, and we're going to see them like next week. Very good compilation, and this is like other Swedish hardcore. Most of the Swedish hardcore bands seems to be doing singing in English, not in Swedish. In Finland, there always been the hardcore is mostly in Finnish. Only 90s it was many English language bands, and of course,
wild cover art.
Yeah, it's very good, and back cover is more typical punk way, and of course there's quite nice booklet, the lyrics of the band, and this was also in. This is a violet lila purple record. Purple is correct word.
Now
and
I do
also
know the War on Drugs.
Yeah, and also another compilation, and this was difficult. This is, of course, this is Legopide is watching. This is Swedish, contains Finnish and Greek bands. This is released in Greek, so Eristetyt and Etuaste, they are from Finland, and Kavala as even the name, even the Kavala is Finnish word also, but it also plays in Greek, so it's Kavala as is Greek band, and then this one is Tarahes, if I remember right. So 4 bands, and about these Greek bands, Tarahes does one Rattus Finnish hardcore band cover version here, and if I remember right, some of these Kavala SS songs was covers of fucking Finland and Riistetyt, but because I can't read Greek, I'm not sure about this thing, what they are reading here. So excellent compilation, and this is fun. This is from recycled cover material, because there's another cover inside, some LP cover inside, and it's just put upside down, and you get new cover to put on. This is like glued here, these papers, and this is silk screen or something like that, doing these band names. And also, of course, there's leaflet of these lyrics and the Greek bands. It's Pastal's cover here. Lopun alku song is the cover version, not Riistetyt, but they are Riistetyt and Pastals are from Tampere both. So
yeah,
that's why I make the mistake. But excellent hardcore, both Finnish and Greek bands does well, and hopefully I see the Terminal Records guy. I was supposed to meet him a couple of weeks ago, but it went because there was strike in Germany. He didn't get in Finland. But nice have punk compilations. I think there's always fun to have compilation. There's good songs, and if they're bad songs, the next song is usually good anyway.
Yeah.
So and you get to know quite many bands in easy way.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you, Christopher. I do love Kikagaku Moyo that you mentioned with their live show at the Levitation, and I will definitely have to check that one out.
Yeah.
I will be showing a record by a band, though, that did have a live release from Levitation. That I will be showing that coming up. But thanks, Christopher, for stopping by. See you the next time.
And Tommy, you can say all the Greek names as long as Costas isn't watching, because none of the rest of us will know any better.
Yeah.
True. But I can read Greek letters. I can guess that they are same letters than they use in Russia, but they are not.
They're pretty similar. I know the Russian alphabet, and I could
I can read Russian.
I could read it out loud. I could pronounce the words, but I don't remember any Russian. I can't. There's a few phrases that I still remember.
Pronunciation is quite the same than here in Finland.
Yeah.
So you have to remember that some letter A's are actually O when they are pronounced, but otherwise it's quite same.
Yeah. I mean, I know Greek letters because you'll see them appear in mathematical and statistical notation. So, but I know more from that than actually thinking of them as like being in parts of words.
Right.
Because you'll see a Greek P, but it's really an R, and that kind of throws you off. That sort of thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, then now I'm kind of shifting away from the electronic techno music to something that's a little more in the, I guess you could say, post-punk, post-rock style. And that's this band called Geese. Their debut album came out in 2021. This is it, Projector. The back cover is just pretty basic, but the front cover was always intriguing to me because, you've got this person in the snowy woods with this like alien mask on, and it looks like they're being pulled upward. The way he's standing and his chest is thrust upward, like he's going to be levitated up into the sky. And then in the back here, where the mysterious lighting is coming from, way back here, there's this cabin, So it's an interesting cover from that perspective. This was a group of high school friends, most of them, that they started playing while they were in high school. I've got 2 copies of this. This is the color variant that I have, and they were already playing a lot in high school, and then right about the time they were doing all their applications in their senior year for going to college and all that, and they got accepted into some pretty prestigious college. Oh, and I see that we've got you've got that one too. So they were all pretty much accepted into these prestigious colleges, but then they got a record contract. And so right out of they figured, okay, we can get into college later, but, a record contract and an opportunity to tour, that's probably something that, the time is now. And that's what they started doing right out of high school. They were touring all over the place. They were touring in Europe, even during much of while the COVID restrictions were still in place with a lot of in a lot of countries. They spent a lot of time in Britain, but also on the continent. They did some touring through the U.S. I had tickets to go see them here in Chicago, but I couldn't make it because I had COVID that time. So I was unable to go. But yeah, it's I really like their material. It's they do admit it does have a sound a little bit like Television and Tom Verlaine, but they also acknowledge that Tom Verlaine was very much an influence with their music. I really wish I was able to go see them. And all right, they've been releasing some videos of some new material and that, but this is the only record they've released. They need to come out with something soon, I think. So and see what they're doing. Very interesting group of guys, in that they have a good chemistry. They I think the fact that they were all playing together since they were like 14 really helped build the camaraderie amongst themselves with this. So I would like to see them again. They've been, I think they're scheduled to tour again in the U.S., but I haven't seen any Chicago dates published. So, but I would like to see them.
You know how I found out about them?
No.
I'm pretty sure you made a video either about them or at least part of the video was about them. And I was intrigued enough and I found them on YouTube and I said, yeah, I like them enough. I bought a record. I just have the basic black. I think the color might have been sold out by the time I knew about it, but that's okay. Jason Skills would prefer the black anyway. So
that's right. He's not a big color variant. I like the color variant, but I like the solid color variants better because sometimes the multicolor variants you can pick up clicks when the needle drags from one color to another. Not so much with the splatter vinyl, but it seems to happen like if it's a bicolor or tricolor, or like, there's like 3 different segments. It's like a pie, different colors. As it crosses each segment, you can sometimes hear a click when it goes from one color to the other. Not so much, if it's noisy music, you don't necessarily hear it unless you've got headphones on. And, then you can hear it. But anyway, yeah, Geese, check them out if you got, people haven't heard of them. So, Chris, what do you have?
Okay, my next record, it was the focus of my most popular video ever on YouTube.
Ooh.
A video that somehow has over 8,000 views.
Holy moly.
And it's Le Fil de Iligadad at Pioneer Works.
Yeah.
So this is
And I've never seen this record anywhere.
Yeah, I ordered it from their Bandcamp, and I think it sold out. So, or from Sahel. So I think Sahel has a Bandcamp, and that's where I got it. I think it sold out. Yeah. I don't know if they repressed it or not. So it's a mostly female band. There's actually one male member, one of the rhythm guitar players. But the story about how this is my most popular video ever. So August 2021, like right after I got this record, I liked it. I made a video, like maybe like 4 or 5 minute video about it, and it got a couple dozen views and then died, which is really what happens to most of my videos. And I got a couple comments from like Steve Carlson and Mama's Records and the kind of people that would be into this sort of record. And then it died, and I figured, okay, a couple dozen people saw it, and then about 3 or 4 months later, it started getting like 100 views a day, and that continued for several months. Now, I looked at the analytics. The view time was terrible. The average view time was like 30 seconds, and the views were coming mostly from North African countries. I got a couple people that were obviously from somewhere in North Africa who were very shaky in English who would send me short messages, and I'd send them like a short message and like a thumbs up icon back. So, but it's kind of weird that this became my most popular video ever. So, but
like what you mentioned before, that a lot of the distribution, until these musical artists started getting record deals, sharing on their phones was how the music, and they have huge followings, but that's how they listen to it. They record, somebody records something on a phone, and then it gets shared all over the place. So I think Sahel Records did a really nice, I don't know if they like exploited the musicians, but they did a nice job of spreading this music to the rest of the world. I mean, in just the last few years, I think Sahel Records, Sahel Sounds, and there's another one too. And then Matador picked up some of these artists and really started distributing them to the Western world, and they're just amazing. It's just absolutely amazing music. I'm always looking for that one, and like I say, I don't ever see it. Well, Tommy, what have you got?
Yeah, I have here. I noticed Vinylizing Brokkari is watching. Maybe here I have something for him. It's Maladi and Aina Vihantaa, Finnish progressive rock and their third album. Back cover is like this or this way. Don't know. And here's lyrics and another one. I bought this record from their record release, so this is really. I didn't like their second album much. The first one is super, but have very bad cover. But this one is a lot better again. And this is, guys are really nice to talk and but they haven't been active in gigs. At least I haven't seen them at least in Helsinki in longer time. But very good progressive rock. Also have tickets from the gig, and this is the limited red version. Limited red version of this one. And I like really much of this modern progressive rock. I'm not much in those 70s bands that many like, but I'm more in these modern sounds. Even they play like this or those kind of sounds, but I like more. And this is of course all in Finnish. This one. Maladi is the band name. Sorry,
there's I've noticed with like you say, the more modern prog rock, it is different from the 70s. Some of the 70s, I mean, I like some 70s prog rock, but some of it is really kind of self-absorbed and bloated. But what I've noticed with some, and my next record kind of fits into this genre, it has a much, it even has a more, the way the music is structured, to me anyway, at least with this record that I'm going to show, is it's more orchestral in the way the music is organized, and it's more thematic, and and a lot of it is instrumental. I don't know, is that one more instrumental?
This is few songs are instrumental, but most are sung in Finnish. But there are not much words, not so many words. So it's very nice to put in background, and you can concentrate to doing work or something, and it's they're peacefully play in the background.
Okay. So so my next record is this band, Japanese band Mono, and one of the reasons I started.
It's upside down.
Is it? There you go.
If in Japanese, we don't notice anything.
One of the reasons I started, this was the first Mono record that I picked up, and it's because they were lumped together with the Japanese math rock, which I was really digging. But the inside of the gatefold and even the outside really do capture to me the feeling and the breadth, the total expanse of the music. It's all instrumental. I would say of all their material, and I have several of their records, it is primarily instrumental. But when I first got this, because they were lumped together with math rock, it really threw me off. And so my initial reaction was negative because it was not what I was expecting. And I'm a firm believer that most of our disappointment is created by our own expectations. It's not the actual person or event or item that disappoints us. It's our expectations that we have for that item that creates the disappointment. So I gave it some time, away, distanced myself from it, and then started listening to it again. And really, really enjoyed this. It's got it, like I was saying earlier, very much an orchestral sound. It's very dark and moody, which this very much captures that. And also, the expansiveness is really captured with the inside gatefold. But the other thing was weird. I was thinking there's a lot of synthesizers on this because there was a lot of sounds like string instruments, right? You know how synthesizers like a mellotron. That's what I really thought they were using was a mellotron, and that was giving it that kind of sound. And then I started looking at the liner notes, and no, they've got an orchestra. They have, a real orchestra with violin and cello that's added to the. So there's a whole string section. They've got a brass section with it as well, and so yeah, this is I've really enjoyed in picking them up. I need to. There's a couple records I realize that are not in my Discogs collection. I need to enter them because the original entries, whoever put the original entry did not do a very good job. There was no information about the runouts and all that kind of. So I need to. I don't know if I'm going to create a new entry and just let Discogs figure it out and merge them together. But anyway, I picked up more music by them, and I do really like their sound. So, Mono, this is Pilgrimage of the Soul. I didn't mention the name. It's the name of the record, Pilgrimage of the Soul. And yeah, it's a very proggy kind of sounding record. But yeah, like you were saying, Tommy, it's not like it might have a feel like early King Crimson, when they were using the Mellotron for their first two releases. It has a similar feel to that. But yeah, it's not like, not like a lot of the other 70s prog that was coming out at the time. So Mono, check them out. Listen to them online.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Okay. So Chris, what do you have?
Okay, so hi Jorgen. Yeah, we saw he was in the chat. I don't know if he wants to come up or not. So I was joking about we haven't shown the Pet Shop Boys yet. So
And I don't have a Pet Shop Boys release from.
I have no idea if they put out a record in 2021 or not. But I'm going to show Australian band Amel and the Sniffers, Comfort to Me. I didn't get this record till 2022. So a lot of the punk people were really talking about her and her band. So Amy Taylor is the lead singer, and then so she's Amel, and then they made a drug related joke with their band title, and it's really kind of straightforward, sort of. It's punk, but it's sort of in that straightforward pub rock, straight ahead rock style of it. I heard that their earlier record was a bit more punky than this one, which I don't have. But I know they had a video for Guided by Angels. So the woman, Amy Amel, she's just incredibly full of energy. She's like nonstop, just so intense. But the thing about this group is that a lot of like the deep tracks, like this song Maggot and this song Knifey, I think are some of the best songs on the album. It's not just like the single is good and everything else is crap. I think it's a pretty strong album. Looking forward to, I don't know if and when they're going to release another album yet, but I'm kind of thinking since AC/DC is pretty much on their last legs, Australia needs a band to be their straightforward rock band for the next 30 years, and maybe they can be it.
I need to pick up some. I mean, I've seen the records, and now I've heard you talk about it. I've not heard anyone else talk about Amel and the Sniffers. The other one too is the Plasmatics. I haven't really heard anybody talk about the Plasmatics, but their covers always.
Plasmatics good.
Yeah, the covers always, and they're more of a garage punk, kind of thing. And I've seen their records, and now I'm like, okay, I need to dive more into them and start picking up both of those bands, those records. Yeah, thanks for talking about that one. That one I have not seen. I've seen a couple others, probably the earlier ones that they did, but yeah, I'll start giving them a listen. They're always in the punk section at this one store that I go to, so that's where I usually. Okay, Tommy, what you got?
Okay, I have a couple 7-inches here, probably my favorite record from 2021. We start, of course, the number 1. It's Tigeri 7-inch. Tigeri Punkon Rakkauspankis Love. This is their first 7-inch, and actually their first album is coming out on in Easter. Easter, really good. There are only 3 songs here, and all songs include the word punk, and this is very fun lyrics here and stylish. Actually, someone calls it like 77 revival punk, but I don't know. It's just punk rock for me, and this is really nice guy. This singer here, and he's always doing these little leaflets, and even this single have this Sid Vicious, Paper Doll, and a lot of punk information here. Record was hand drawn, all these, probably all 250. I bought the last 4 copies they had. I bought those and sent friends. Really sought after item, this one, and luckily they have re-recorded those songs to the new album, because this was printed only like 250 and really many missed that one. And it's complete DIY. And also this another band here, Karkaisu. This is Helsinki-based band, 2 men, 2 women here, and they have my favorite, almost my favorite song from 2021, Keski-ikä, middle age, that they are singing I'm living middle age hardcore dream. That's
a middle-aged hardcore dream. Yeah.
I do, because I go to gigs and see hardcore bands, and now I had to did interviews with them and things like that. And people are recognize me in the gigs, like in the Terveet Kädet gig a couple of weeks ago. The people are, you are the YouTube guy. I like your channel. And also I have this also as cassette, and this cassette is great because they have 4 times this EP. So in both sides it's twice. So when you listen once this cassette through, you have listened to this one 4 times, this EP. Yeah, Karkaisu.
Yeah,
you are in right company there.
Yeah, when Tommy sent me the cassette, he threw in a couple stickers in the package, and there was one of them. I don't think you actually put a song by them on the tape, though.
I think probably put some song. I don't remember anymore. But this Karkaisu, it's made like you have steel and you harden the steel. It's the process is called Karkaisu. I don't know what's the process in English, but
yeah,
when you have metal and you make it stronger, it's Karkaista in Finnish.
Yeah.
So
I know there's a word for that in English, and I don't know what it is either.
Yeah, and they are
metal stronger.
Yeah, they have made. They have recorded their second EP, I think, but I don't. They didn't. Last time I saw them, they didn't know when it's going to be out, or they have something extra stuff undone yet. But really nice person. I have talked in gigs many times with them.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna, because I really do have quite a few records. I'm going to show 3 records in this round that are they're kind of similar, but not necessarily similar. But it's going to work anyway. So the next one is this band. I've shown them before in previous episodes here in the 2000s, and that is Alten Gun, which is this psychedelic folk rock band from the Netherlands, made up of some Turkish musicians. So the songs are sung in Turkish. And so this is their 3rd record, I believe. There is one more record that they released in this last year, or might even been earlier this year. So I'm going to be seeing them this summer here in Chicago. But yeah, Alten Gun, good psychedelic. And as I say, said before, what this one is more synthy. They have a little more synthesizer going on with this one than in previous releases. But what they do is they take traditional Turkish folk songs, and then they do psychedelic arrangements for them. Really, really quite cool and imaginative.
They have a couple of singles out this year, at least in streaming services. They have new music out.
Yeah, because I do think they're getting ready to release another album.
Yeah. I just checked it from the Spotify. So
yeah.
Now I remember to listen those. I leave it in the open Spotify. Next time I'll put the computer. I could listen.
So you have listened to them?
No. Now I
okay.
have the band name here, and I leave the site open there.
Well, the other band, psychedelic band, Black Angels. So Christopher was talking about Kikagayu Moyo live at the Levitation. This is the Black Angels live at Levitation. And so really, it's a well-recorded live album. Really, it really psychedelic rock. Really, it's just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just really good. What's another word? Not just psychedelic, and it's not necessarily metal or whatever, but it's just really intense music. This is on a very cool splatter vinyl, and very nice pressing of that. So the Black Angels would be, I think they're going to be, they are touring again, because Robert Fithen was talking about they are touring, and so, they'll be coming at least to St. Louis. I don't know if they're coming to Chicago. I should probably look and see if they are. And then one more for this round is a band that I'm going to see this coming Friday. And I just like, wow, I can't believe I am going to see The Residents. And this was something that they released in 2021. It's called Leftovers because it's a lot of material from the 70s that were uncovered or whatever. It was previously unreleased material. So in typical fashion of that era, a lot of very short songs, particularly on, side 2. But there's a reference here to Frank Zappa with the song "The Idiot Bastard Son of What," and then there's a Rolling Stones reference with "Primal Satisfaction." They did blend in. I can't remember if it was Third Reich and Roll or another one where they did Satisfaction, the Rolling Stones Satisfaction. This is a slightly different version, but a lot of really short songs on side 2. So yeah, I'm really excited. The interesting thing about a band like this that has been around for so bloody long, is that they've really never have revealed their identity. So very likely I'm not going to be listening to original members of the band. There's replacements, but because their identities don't get revealed, nobody knows who they are, or most people do not know who they are. So it's not like I'm going to see a band. It's not like the time I went to see Iron Butterfly in a bar, and the only original member was, I think it was the drummer. It was the only original member. In other bands that I've gone to see, legacy bands that, one person, the band has just become a franchise, almost a copy of themselves. But these guys have been cranking out. Oh, their catalog is immense. And
so when they play live, are they like in disguise or masks?
Yeah, they wear masks, or they, for the Mole show, they all had these giant eyeballs that they put on their head.
That
So
band,
yeah,
Now I know the band.
yeah, you couldn't see who they were, and then they would intentionally distort their voices, so you wouldn't necessarily be able to recognize them by voice either. They had one member who was known to the public, a longtime member with them during the 70s, and that was Snakefinger, who was a fairly famous blues slide guitar player from England. And he played with them for a long time. And then when he went solo, they also played with him, on some of his solo projects. But I'm very excited about this. It's like I have no expectations. That's the key. Don't have any expectations.
That's good.
And because I don't know what their catalog is so huge, I don't know what they're going to play. I'm not always a big fan of some of their spoken word content. I mean, I like it, but it's not something, But we'll see. We'll see what comes with it. This was what the residents have said. They had such a big entourage when they arrived. He didn't know who was performing. Right, because there's so many of them. You don't know, well, who's in the band, who's going to be putting on that'd be interesting because, if I was running a venue and booked them to come in, the musicians how strict are they about hiding their identity, even from the people who work in the venue, all the stage hands and things like that. So this is a small venue, but it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it this Friday.
Here was in Finland, there was in 70s band called Kummitus, that means like ghost, and they have full ghost costumes in the stage.
Okay.
But they did perform as a ghost, but then they leave all the ghost costume away because they were carrying the stuff to the stage without any costumes, and they were really stupid to put those costumes on when they are play as
right.
Kummitus. And then the band broke up, and after a few months after that, there was two bands playing as a Kummitus ghost, because they are members of the original band in two different bands, and no one knows who's the original band.
All right, because there's that modern band Ghost that's kind of
this is early 70s.
Yeah,
They're quite straightforward. Acid psych rock, and they have, I think, they a little bit like have some riffs from Black Sabbath. They're very early Finnish. I can't say they are heavy metal, but their style was there still.
right.
Trying
right.
to play and acid rock, psych rock type of things. They have some very good songs.
There was, people like to talk about how, after the Sex Pistols and the Ramones, everybody wanted to have a punk band. Black Sabbath, really did inspire a lot of people to, go into that direction of heavy metal. And I think even more than Led Zeppelin ever did. I think Black Sabbath had a bigger influence on that genre. But I might be mistaken. Anyway.
It was called Jytärockia in Finland. It's not heavy metal, it's Jytärock here.
Okay. Chris.
All right. So next group I'm going to show is the Illuminati Hotties. So that's either the greatest or worst name ever for a band. I'm not sure which. Let me do one more. And so most of the records I have left are like female fronted groups or female artists. So I think her name's Sarah Tudson. This, Wet Leg was like all the rage in 2022. This is actually kind of in that same sort of vein as that. It's pretty fun, poppy, sort of poppy rock sort of stuff. Pool Hopping was like probably their most popular song. It's a real fun, melodic sort of song. If you heard it and somebody told you it was Wet Leg, you might not know the difference. And we have Richard's favorite type of vinyl here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one that you can get the clicks once in a while.
Yeah, now you have to listening very carefully. Do you hear the clicks or not? Vinyl, Richard told that if there are clear vinyl and colored vinyl in that kind of version, then the clicks are, you can hear the clicks.
Yeah, I don't remember. I haven't listened to this album in a while, but I don't remember any huge issues with clicks on it.
They're not like pops, but they're just subtle.
Yeah, I try not to listen too closely.
Yeah, because I live in an apartment building, so a lot of times when I want to listen to my music at a higher volume, I put the headphones on so that I'm not bothering neighbors. And then that's when I started, because I heard other people talk about it, and then that's when I started hearing it was with the headphones. When I'm playing them out through the speaker, I don't necessarily. Yeah. Well, now I do hear it because I know they're there, but I didn't notice it before when I was listening through speakers.
And I also mentioned in the chat box that I accidentally showed that Schizo 7-inch come back with a warrant last week. I should have saved it for this week because it's a 2021 record.
And you caught yourself last week, didn't you? With that,
I caught myself, but I'd already shown it. So
right, yeah, that's all right.
I think while I was showing it, I saw the number and I was like, "Oh, 2021."
We didn't know anything. Just didn't mention. We don't notice.
Yeah, a lot of times you should just let it go and see if anyone else notices.
Right. Okay, Tommy, what have you got?
Yeah, okay, I have something completely different because I just stopped hardcore, so we now need to have black metal, and this is Azazel. This is a very infamous band or person here in Finland, and the latest album Agrum Satanas Tecum. I don't know. I don't know.
And the band name is in the death metal font. I see.
Azazel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can write it down in private chat.
So I just love the font styles that the metal bands will use.
But this band this record is great. It's very good black metal record, and this is one of Azazel is one of the old Azazel singer Satanak. I think it's Satanak, but if you read it like in Finnish way, it's Satanakia. That means like 100 sausages. So it's really fun. But it's they all their gigs, they are so drunk that they're completely like losing matter in their gigs, and there could be like passing out into between the show or something like that. And it's really, they have quite good drummer there, and there was one interview in YouTube that the drummer was trying to tell that they have plans to do whatever. The singer Satanak and the guitar player or bassist there was just so drunk. No way they can do anything. And this Azazel is there was Finnish that I actually distributed in DVD black metal history of Finnish black metal documentary Gehannan, Loputon Gehannan liekki, Eternal Flame of Gehanna, and there was the interview with this Satanak. He was so drunk, and he did say, "Vittu mä vihaan punkkia, I fucking hate punk," and this really came as like a slogan here in Finland. Everybody was saying, "Vittu mä vihaan punkkia." Especially all the punks was all the time referring it as actually in my channel also a couple of videos including that voice. I fucking hate punk, and it's really fun document to see if you're interested in history of black metal. But the most fun part are that Azazel parts here. But this is, I don't have low production values, so the sound is really black metal like those maybe more like this early Norwegians one, like one Mayhem and Botsum. The sound is more in that way than the modern polished black metal that are quite you can hear quite much also. But I like this raw underground type of black metal.
See, now I learned so much. It surprises me too that how many of these bands are Finnish. You know that. I mean, I don't even know if there are that many metal bands in the United States. Probably are. I just don't, because I don't necessarily listen to.
Here are, I don't know. Here are hundreds of black metal bands here.
But yeah, I hear
every weekend you can see in Helsinki are like 5 different bands that I have never before heard.
Yeah.
As well as punk bands. There are always popping up new bands.
Yeah.
All the time.
Especially in Sweden and, well, all Scandinavian countries, because you hear about Norwegian black metal and you know.
It's just because half the year here's total blackness. There are no
Right.
sun, and so we don't have anything else to do than play black metal.
All right. All right. So this next round, I'm going to be showing a few records, including a box set, because 2021 was pretty prolific year for Neil Young. So he did come out with it's a single album, but it was released in a box, and that is Barn. So he and Crazy Horse, not necessarily the original Crazy Horse, because by this time Frank Pancho San Pedro had retired. So Nils Lofgren came back in to play the guitar with Neil. And it's not the famous barn from the Monterey, California area ranch that Neil Young purchased. But it's a barn that he and his wife Daryl Hannah restored up in I think it's in the Colorado Rockies. It's in the Rocky Mountains or whatever. And so they restored this barn and recorded inside there. It's a nice packaging and box set, but it is a single album. It's not like a
Richard
series.
Richard, I have it, but mine's not in a box. Mine's just packaged like a normal album.
Oh, okay. I see. Let me show that again then.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mine's not a box. Is yours just a single disc, or do you have more than one disc?
It's just a single disc.
Okay. Yeah, mine's just a single disc too. I didn't get.
And it's numbered.
Okay. Yeah, mine's not numbered, so I get there. There was probably some more deluxe version.
Yeah, because I think what I did is I pre-ordered this.
Mine I got in a record store. So
yeah. So, but yeah, as I said, there were a lot of records that he came out. Some of them I didn't get. One of them is this one also, Young Shakespeare, which is released in 2021, but it's a live recording from a show at the Shakespeare Theater in Stratford, Connecticut. It's an acoustic show. It's just him, and from January 22nd, 1971. And he's been releasing a lot of these. I mean, there's him in Carnegie Hall. There are a lot of other of these acoustic sets. And I wasn't, at first I was thinking, oh, I want to get, every one of these. And then I started realizing a lot of these are from almost the same tour. It's the same set list pretty much. There's just not a whole lot. There's some variation, with them. So I just got a couple, Live at the Cellar Door was another one, I picked them up, but I didn't bother to get all of them because it was just like, well, I got the tape of the show. I might as well, press it into a record kind of thing. So he was churning out a lot of material.
I don't have any of those.
But the big box set that was released is this one, way down in the rust bucket. This is Neil Young and Crazy Horse, at the zenith of their career. This is just a killer set, killer recording. When I first got this, I mail ordered this as well. when I first got this, it's four LPs, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm gonna pace myself. I'm gonna listen to one of them and save the other three for another time. But I sat there and I played all four records all the way through. It was just an amazing, amazing recording, excellent show. And then it comes on CD as well. So you can throw the CD on and then, listen to the show that way. And then it comes with a DVD. The DVD, though, has a partway through the DVD, something weird happens. And I haven't watched the DVD except that one time. I just remember something technical went wrong with the video recording, and that, I mean, you could still hear and you could still see, but it was just weird what was going on. I guess I'll need to watch it again just to remember what it is. It's a David Briggs production, so it's noise. It's filled with noise, and it's glorious noise. It just really is an amazing box set. It's one of my favorite box sets that I have. So that's well, I'll do one more box set because the next round is going to be a slightly different artist. But this box set came out too. John Prine at the other end. This is a great 4-record set of his material. Just again, another limited edition. This was a record store day release, I believe, in 2021. Great sounding. I love John Prine, and this is just, if you know the story about John Prine, he was a postal carrier here in Chicago, and he was playing bars at night while he was still working for the post office. And what he would do is, there's a letter box that they used to use. I don't know if they use it so much anymore. The only reason I know about this is because my mother worked in the post office. They were green letter boxes, and those were distribution points for the letter carriers. They weren't drop boxes for customers to use. And what John Prine would do is he would go to one of these boxes, open them up, and then, like in really nasty winter weather or something, and then he'd crawl inside and have his lunch so he'd get some shelter, and then he would write songs. So a lot of those early songs that he put together from like his first couple albums, that's why he was able to come right out of the box with a complete album with songs, because he'd also been playing in the bars these songs at night, when he was off shift. So it helped him really launch his career. What a great songwriter. I do love John Prine, one of my favorites. All right. Yeah. And that is, Vance, I'm sorry. That is a great set for Neil Young, that Way Down in the Rust Bucket. It's got to be, I don't know if Roxy, Live at the Roxy is better, or if this one is the better one. So I don't know. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. So, but that's what I got. What do you got up next, Chris?
Okay, so for this round, I'm going to show 2 records. They're both pretty similar in terms of the packaging and sort of the theme of the record. They're both by female singer-songwriters. So the first one, she's recording under the name Penfriend. Her real name is Laura Kidd. She's a UK-based artist from Bristol. So this album is called Exotic Monsters. I really like the album cover with sort of like the sort of cartoon picture of her. Notice that the phone cord, old school phone, the phone cord is cut. So part of it is kind of being disconnected from like other people, obviously in terms of the pandemic, but just in the terms of the way that sort of modern life has gone, and sort of these little rocket ships and all this stuff as well. And And then the other record, I've shown this artist a couple of episodes earlier, Vanessa Peters, who's a Austin, Texas-based singer-songwriter. Her album Modern Age, she actually has a lot of these similar themes about sort of how in modern life we're not as connected with people as we once were. Also, this kind of cool, so you got the blonde women in their cartoon versions of them.
I like here. Those covers.
Yeah. And then so so pen friend Laura Kidd, I'm not really crazy about that name. She used to record under the name She Makes War, which I thought was a much cooler name, but she decided to change it. I found out about her because she did a podcast. And so she'd have people like Tanya Donnelly and Juliana Hatfield and Lou Barlow and those sorts of people on her podcast. And I signed up for her email list, and then she said, oh, yeah, I'm making this record. Here's a couple of free tracks. And I listened to them. I liked them so much that I ordered her record, and I even paid shipping from England to get it. So that's telling you something. So
yeah.
And actually, she formed a band with one of the guys who used to be in Ned's Atomic Dustbin, and they just released an album that I just got under the name Obey Robots. So that's a brand new 2023 record by her.
Obey Robots.
Obey Robots.
Right, Obey
like
robots.
The robots are that we must obey them.
Right. It seems like I've heard that before, that title, or maybe a song or something. But yeah, I do. Like I said, I like those covers. That's the kind of record that I would see the cover, and I would probably blind buy it just based on the cover art.
Yeah, but they're both sort of that alternative indie rock sound. I mean, guitar-driven sort of stuff. So Pen Friend, it's probably a little bit more keyboardy, electronic. Her new record's more guitar-based because she has the guitar player with her now. So.
Okay, cool. All right, well, Tommy.
Okay, I go this round. I have quite in opposite direction. So fastest and slowest record of 2021, and the first one is also cartoon cover about blonde woman, and it's
all right.
Kova rasvaa tulevaisuuteen, and this is Finnish hardcore. Oh, actually, I think this should call this like thrashcore. So they have really metal sound there also, but they are fast. Super fast. I have actually, this seems to be my band of the year 2023 also, because I have already seen them this year 3 times, and next Saturday is the 4th time I saw them live. See them live, and super fast band. And actually,
that cover that makes me think of the the 1950s, 1960s housewife kind of commercials.
Yeah.
Betty Crocker.
Except she's dead now.
Right.
Yeah. They are a little bit like mocking of that kind of things.
Yeah.
Things and their lyrics, and they have this. There's actually like only like seven songs, and it could be like in 7-inch all this material, but they have the same songs in side A and side B. And in about a year ago, I made an interview about Kova rasvaa, and it was first interview I did. I did, and they are really nice people. I always have fun with them in the gigs, and the next one, this is also from Greek, so I have the Greek team here. Cheers to Kostis, and this is Acid Mammoth. Always you have in band name Mammoth, it's going to be doom metal, and the album is Caravan, and that cover not much. It's from Heavy Psych Sounds Records, and they are specialists, I think, in doom metal. Actually, at least all records I have heard about that label is doom metal. Really slow riffing songs. In the B side only 2 songs, and in the A side is 3. So the songs are like between 7 and 10 minutes. if you are in doom metal, I think the Acid Mammoth is the best you can this at the moment have in that genre. Really good band. Hopefully they come in Finland sometimes. Would be very nice to see
Where are
them
they
playing
from?
live. From Greek.
Greece. That's right. That's what you
Yeah,
said. Okay.
yeah. So really nice to have. I haven't. I don't listen much of new doom metal bands. So this is Acid Mammoth. Is when I first time heard it. Is wow. This is something. I have both the LPs and then they have some split release, but that one I don't have.
Huh, okay. I love these covers, but like I say, although that one, the one you showed with the Betty Crocker lady on fire and
Yeah,
that one, that I would buy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you've
This
got
is really
that too.
cool.
Tommy sent me the sticker for that one as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah, and yes, I did. I haven't. I have this record from 2021, but I have never read this hype sticker here. I just read it first time. First time it says, "Kova Rasva is master fucking band fucking music Suomi masters," and the guy who said this Junior Nelson, and Junior Nelson is and it's not singer but player of Brazilian hardcore bands Ratos de Borau, Armageddon, and Ruidos Absurdos that have been playing from the early 80s already. So, kova
Yeah, put the
rasvaa.
name of that in the chat because I like that cover. That's a cover I would buy just for hanging on the wall. I'll even listen to the record to see if what I think about it.
Yeah, actually, the Terminal Records that I had one record earlier, they released on tape, including this one and their previous album in the same tape, but it's cost only like €5. So it's really good tape to have. Of course, I have the albums and I have the tape also.
Yes. All right. All right. I got another couple box sets here, and I don't normally do a lot of Frank Zappa, but these are Frank Zappa box sets that were released in 2021. The first one is this one here, Zappa 88, The Last U.S. Show. So in 88, Zappa put together a really amazing band, and they did what turned out to be the final tour before Zappa just decided that, I've had enough of this. We're not going to be doing any more touring because of what happened on the European leg of the show. So what he ended up doing is this was their last show in the U.S. At the Long Island Coliseum. And it's a 4-record set. And the short version of the story, well, the kind of short version of the story is Zappa would with rehearsals, it got to a point where he rehearsed his bands like crazy, especially when they went on the road, because they needed to know hundreds of songs, and then he would just kind of give a signal. They would usually have a set list, planned for going out on stage, but he also had this method of these hand signals that would let the band know that, okay, now you need to shift into if we're playing the same song, but now let's play it in 7/8, or let's play it in reggae style, or something like that, and give those signals. So he had someone that the band called the Clone Meister, who ran the rehearsals. And then Zappa would come in later in the day to see how things were going, with the rehearsals, and then rehearse with the band. Scott Tunis was the person who was designated the clone master and a bass player. And he rubbed a lot of the other musicians the wrong way. They did not get along with him. And over time, the animosity got to a point where they were just treating him to be really they were just being really shitty with him. Now, Scott Tunis was not innocent. He had certain personality quirks that did rub people the wrong way. So it was kind of a two-way thing. But by the time they got to Europe, the infighting got so bad that Zappa was realizing that, what's going on here, and he sat down and had a meeting with the band, and he wanted to know, do we go ahead and finish the tour or do we just stop now? Because they had plenty of sold out dates. And he made the decision, ultimately Zappa made the decision to just end the tour. So unless you were in the Northeast and North Central, that's why he came out with the CD, The Best Band You Never Heard, because after Europe, they were supposed to do a Southern tour and then go to the West Coast of the United States. Never did that, because in the middle of the tour in Europe, he just said, fuck it, I'm not dealing with this anymore, and canceled the show. It's a great recording, great live recording. A lot of times you really wouldn't know that this kind of infighting was going on.
So this was before he got sick then?
It was pretty close because it's 1988. That may have been contributing to it, because even before he was ultimately diagnosed, he was having a lot of health issues. He knew he was having prostate issues, but every doctor he went to, nobody identified the cancer. So he was probably also, I think that's why he just said, fuck it, I don't want to deal with this, because he didn't have the energy to do that. He wasn't going to hire a new Clownmeister because he needed somebody who knew all the music. And so, it just kind of, that may have contributed to it, because, Ed, because it's like the CD release, which has it has both, for example, there's a couple songs on The Best Band You Never Heard that were from the Binghamton, New York show, which I have a bootleg copy of that show, which was a really great show. And then a lot of some of the European, recordings are on that. So you do get to hear some of the European parts of the tour and what they were playing, in that. But it was a great band. He actually started the band, that particular band, because he wanted to do a talk show. And that's kind of how it began. That was going to be the talk show band. And so they needed to know hundreds of songs and also be able to respond to whatever cues he was giving them. Like Ed was talking about, shaking his head meant that they were to do it in reggae vamp. But then this tour opportunity, he went for that instead of the talk show. The other box set that Zappa was released from Zappa's catalog is the soundtrack to the film Zappa. So this is a 5-record box set that is really quite a great retrospective of Zappa's career. And what's nice, there was a 2-record set that was released, and I have that as well, from the soundtrack. But what is really good about this is that it has, one of the sides here includes material by Edgar Varese and also by Stravinsky. So there's the Firebird Suite, the finale. Then there's a spoken, an interview where Zappa's talking about Edgar Varese. And then there's Ionization, which I'm still on the lookout for a copy of that record as well. But that's the nice thing, the real nice feature with this. And then there's the actual score from the film is on the final record. But I have the DVD. I don't have the DVD. I have the Blu-ray of the film. It's also a great film. It did include some information that I was unsure about regarding Zappa and his relationship, particularly with Gail, that was made clear in the film. Um, yeah, it's a great compilation because it covers his entire career, and it's a great documentary. The Blu-ray, I would recommend it because it really does provide some insight into Zappa as the musician, Zappa as the composer, Zappa as the family man, Zappa as a Zappa as a person who had issues sometimes in interacting with other people. It's a high quality, great recording and great film. All right, so moving on, Chris, what do you have?
All right, I think I'll show a couple this round, and also I'm reporting that it is now officially 32 or 0 degrees here in Western Kentucky. So,
oh God, it's 35 here in Chicago.
Oh, okay, wow, okay. So you're saying when are you going to show your Juliana Hatfield record for the year? Okay, she had an album that came out in 2021. It's called Blood. It's got this horrible picture of this woman in a bikini who's had her arms chopped off, her hands chopped off, who's diving. And then the other side has sort of this horror movie looking picture to it. Mine's on blood red vinyl. And so the thing about this record that I kind of want to talk about is that it's probably one of the more electronic sounding albums, probably the most electronic sounding of her career. And so because she was recording this in 2020, she didn't have access to the studio that she would normally record in. She had recorded a couple of her albums at home with like a 8-track digital recorder that was no longer functioning. She was scouring eBay to try to get it because it no longer was manufactured. She couldn't find one. She decided, well, I guess I'll record it on my laptop like everybody else does these days. And she had a friend who was an electronic musician who was familiar with how to use GarageBand and the like. And he's somebody who knows how to program drums. And she kind of collaborated with him. So it really sounds less like a 90s alternative rock album than some of the younger musicians that sort of copy that 90s alternative rock sound. Then I'm going to show...
That is really quite a stunning cover. All the blood flowing out of her stumps.
Yeah, I know within the Juliana Hatfield fandom, this is a kind of a polarizing cover. Some people... And Juliana drew this picture, by the way. And so some people love it and some people hate it. I have to admit, when she had a T-shirt come out with this design, I didn't buy the T-shirt. So, and then let's also talk about Robert Plant and Alison Krauss, because they put out, obviously, for like people with like mainstream taste, I think this was one of the biggest albums of the year.
Yeah.
Raise the Roof came out on Rounder Records. And of course, they had done a similar collaboration about 10 or 12 years earlier. And of course, it's hard to read the song titles.
That one was kind of a dud, wasn't it? The one they did earlier?
I don't think either of them were duds. So
okay.
That's just me personally. I don't think either of them are considered to be duds.
Okay.
Generally. So, but yeah. So obviously, this is. One of the things about I find interesting about Robert Plant compared to many of the other musicians of kind of his generation. So obviously Mick and Keith are still doing the Rolling Stones and the like. And Robert Plant, I mean, once Led Zeppelin ceased, when John Bonham died, he's kind of like, well, I'm not in Led Zeppelin anymore. I've got enough money for the rest of my life. I'm going to do other things with the records I make for the rest of my life, which I actually kind of like. So
yeah, do something different instead of trying to sound like the same thing all the time. Maybe it was like the Honey Drippers or something like that people reacted
I like the Honey Drippers. I have that record. I like that record.
But I think there was, going back to my earlier theme about expectations. I think a lot of people just thought Robert Plant was going to carry on.
Yeah. Well, you remember like when Neil Young, when Geffen told him to make a rock album, and then he made his rockabilly album.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's not what we meant. We meant that you would make something that sounds like one of your bestsellers from the 70s. That's what we meant.
Yeah, right. Well, it's not the 70s anymore.
Yeah.
I'm finding that I have a greater appreciation for the Geffen years with Neil Young, because I understand better what he was like trying to do. But anyway.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's my round.
Okay, so Tommy.
Yeah, okay. I have one record and 1 7-inch here. It's Jazz and Ancient. Jazz and Ancient. Yeah, Jazz and Ancient one. Vertigo is the name of the album, and this is their 5th album. They started more I called them in the early days. I called them like occult metal. They were more in the heavy metal guitars there, and a lot more heavier. But this is in their, I think, in psych rock type of thing, and even like hippie rock, so not heavy, quite light music here, and they're still singing in the occult things, like here's about burning of the velvet fires and love zombie and what paranormal things like that.
Okay.
But I just heard the recent interview. Of course, we have to show the core of the record. So this is like green and something.
That's cool.
Between.
That's a cool color variant.
Yeah. It's very good band. But in recent interview of the guitarist of the Jazz and Ancient ones, he made almost alone this single background. It's like skull, and the singer here is the backing singer of the Jazz and the Ancient ones. And this is even more like their still, you can hear that it's coming from the metal, but it's really like they're like surf guitars, and then there's like old Finnish Schlager type of things and so what much like their side, but the lyrics are still in the occult side, but they have changed the vocals to the Finnish, and they just made a new album, their first album out, and they have asked to the gigs, but the problem is that this guy is almost alone. There's another guy did the drums, but the singer Mari is not anymore with the Tommy that makes bass and bass and guitars and synthesizers and everything else. So they have to now try to organize as a band with some other players there. Yeah, occult Schlager, yes. That's the thing. But it's still rocking in the rock wave, like in the 60s type of music. Rock. Quite like, but this 7-inch, I like very much of the 7-inch, but the new album, there was like 7 or 8 songs there. I had to listen a couple times more before I made decision, do I need to buy it or not. But definitely, if they start doing gigs in later this year, definitely I'm going to see them, because there was quite nice sounds there, and when the lyrics are in Finnish, it's and Finnish and in the occult way, because they are not usually you don't hear that kind of things. Only like Ceremonia is almost the only band who does the occult lyrics.
All right. Now, we are getting up on the 2-hour mark. So how many rounds do each of you think you can do?
I think I'll go only one. I have one African record for them.
Okay. And
Chris, I've got 5 things left. I think I can do it in 2 rounds, doing multiples. I have one record I'm shocked you haven't shown yet, Richard.
Well, it's in my last one, because it's one I've talked about so many times that
Right.
it's one of the ones way in the back. Actually, two of them. But yeah, let's do two more. I'll do three, so I'll do the last one. So for this round, I'm going to show these three records. This is a label that I discovered in 2021 that I really like, and I have since learned that their catalog is like huge. They have a huge store in London, and that is Soul Jazz Records. So this one is the first one I ever got. This is 2 cents, a guitar, and a drum machine. So this is it's described as post-punk dance. It's a compilation. It's a lot of bands that I've never really well, none of them I've heard before. Although some of them I think have been around, like Tom of England, New Fries, Automatic Zongamen, or maybe are those the names of the songs? And sometimes I can't tell right away from the way they have the songs listed whether it's the name of the song or if it's the name of. I think those are the name of the bands, Becker and Mukai. So they're from all over the world, and but yeah, this one, and then another one that I picked up as a blind buy, but it was Soul Jazz Records. This is called Cold Wave. So this is a compilation of they're both double record sets, and so this one is how did they describe it? I think this is dark wave, minimal wave, I guess is the way you would classify it. But regardless, very, very cool compilation. Again, with a variety of acts, and synthy organized. They come with these booklets that have little descriptions, little biographies, of the band. Like, so like this one, Moisture. It's a band from Malmo, Sweden. Then there's a French group here, Netherlands. So yeah, where is this guy from? He's got a name that looks like he could be either Northern Europe or Scandinavia, Creek or Kuchain, I don't know. So Celine Gillian.
Not Scandinavian name, at least.
Oh, and it's not. Okay, so it's probably German or maybe Czech or something like that. But yeah, a lot of good stuff. After this, I was like, man, Soul Jazz Records can't do nothing wrong.
They have very good compilations. I have a couple up that have Nigeria music, and they have good punk compilations also.
Yeah, they do. And then I picked up this
that
one.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Cuba, which is so this is all Cuban, Havana Cuban music. This is the other two are much stronger than this. This is really good. Just some of the mixes of some of the songs, I don't know, it just comes off a little too shrill with the Cuban style, and Latin rhythms. But it's still a really great album. And like I say, it's I have heard they have a store in London, and I have heard that it's like huge, just a massive store. And I looked on Discogs, and they have a huge catalog of all kinds of music, from punk to dance music to house music. Chris, did you just look that up?
I just Googled that. Yeah. Obviously, that last name is in French, but so.
Well, if he's from that area of France, it's either close to Belgium or close to Germany.
Grigor is like a Russian name, Grigor. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, Kuchian too is kind of an Eastern European sounding name. But anyway, great stuff. I am still of the mood that whenever I see a soul jazz records release, I'm going to buy it because they just do such a great job.
Quality releases.
Yeah, great compilations with great artists. They're great mixes. I'm very, very impressed with them. So that's my round here for this one.
All right. Well, I'll show a couple records. I'm still saving the one that I know someone else is going to show. So we have Natural Information Society. And so this is sort of in your experimental avant-garde jazz bucket, which I don't have much of, but I really like this record. They're putting out a new record this year that I have on pre-order. And so Joshua Abrams is the leader. He plays this giumbri, which is sort of this unusual, sort of like a bass guitar, sort of like a lute instrument. Then you have a harmonium player, a drummer. On this record, they had Evan Parker as a soprano saxophone guest. And then this guy, Jason Stein, he works with, who plays bass clarinet. There's not a lot of people that specialize in bass clarinet. And this is this is pretty droney, ambient sort of sounding stuff. It's basically a 75-minute piece of improvised work. It's divided up into 4 pieces just because it's on 2 vinyl discs. My understanding is if you have the CD version, it's basically just one long, continuous piece of music. It's instrumental, but I really like it. It certainly doesn't sound like Blue Note jazz or anything like that. So it's definitely not smooth jazz.
Is that stringed instrument that's on the back? Is that one that's the North African instrument that's carved out of some weird kind of
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
So then this doesn't fit in with that record at all, but I need to show it before we're done. So the Courtney Barnett album, Things Take Time, her 2021 record. I didn't like it as much as her record from a few years before. This was a little bit mellower, a little bit more sort of stereotypical singer-songwritery than her earlier work, but it's still not a bad album. And then I've got a box set and a record I think someone else is going to show for my last round.
All right. Then what have you got then there?
Yeah, I got my last one here. I have some others here, but I leave it away. Here's 7 inches of Takbir. That's a hardcore band from Morocco. So they are singing in Arabic. And if I remember right, it's also like female fronted band. And actually, I just was reading there's lyrics in Arabic and in English. So now I can some Arabic words here. I have this little poster here inside and words. Lyrics here. If I ever need to say ass in Arabic, I know it's chuki. Chuki chuki kvir means I have big ass. So if I ever need to know some Arabic, I know. Great to have these 7 inches. This is released by UK label La Vida Us in Mustatis, the hardcore label that everybody is now about talking. They have all releases that they have done is great, absolutely great one. So, if you are interested in hardcore from Morocco, this Takbir could be.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of a Arabic hardcore punk band.
Yeah, I never. And the album name, it has 7 inch name is Victory Belongs to Those Who Fight for a Right Cause. So I read the lyrics, they are quite much criticizing like the women, how the women are in the Arabic countries. They have to have these burqas and can't use jeans, and that's the song that the ass song was referring that she can't use jeans when his got on and put like makeup and things like that.
Yeah. All right. So, so I am going to, I'm pulling some records here to sort of deliberately avoid showing the one that I think that Chris wants to also show, but these are.
I don't mind if you show it.
No, it's these are ones I would get to, and then if I don't have to show the others, and we can just end the stream. But perhaps many people have been listening to the latest Viagra Boys Cave World release, which is a really good, really solid release. We reviewed it on the Gunkles, but one that was released the year before is this one here, Jello Biafra and the Guantanamo School of Medicine. The album Tea Party Revenge Porn is just as good, same style, same type of content. So you've got, lambasting, people who are contributing to what is going on in the United States. It opens up with Satan's Comb Over. And then the next song, People with Too Much Time on Their Hands. Always people with too much time on their hands that seem to be interfering with everybody else's lives. We created Putin. So laying the blame on the U.S. for the rise of Putin. Taliban USA. Let's go stare at bloody dead people. It's just funny. The whole premise of the song is that there is this horrific accident and people are at this restaurant and then they go outside to go look at the people who are dying in the street. Nobody's offering help. Nobody's offering to provide succor to anybody in this terrible incident, but they all got their phones out videotaping everything, so it's just it's a kind of a tough record there with the cover there, but with this rattlesnake and a brain and the maw of the rattlesnake. But yeah, I do like those records by Jello Biafra and the Guantanamo School of Medicine. He's got a few releases that are really quite good. Kind of a post-punk, and it's still kind of hardcore punk kind of thing. Now, the next two records, completely different direction. These are sort of soundtracks that were leading up to the release of the final feature-length film of Evangelion. So Evangelion 3.0 or something like that, I think it was. So this is One Last Kiss, which is some of the songs from the film by Hikaru Utada. So a little bit it's on the clear vinyl. I'm a big Evangelion fan. I love the franchise, the TV series. I love the other films that were released, and then also the ultimate sequence that finally within the last year we got the final thing to closure. I mean, it took a long time to get closure. I like mecha type of anime. I like anime anyway. Then the other one was this release that was leading up to it, called Evangelion Finally, on this pink splatter vinyl. So, or it's pressed on opaque pink and magenta splatter. Let me find what I got here. This one is Yoko Takahashi and Megumi Hayashibara, and their songs from the soundtrack. These are relatively well-known Japanese pop singers that were brought in and who have also contributed to previous franchises. Someday, I may get the original soundtrack, Evangelion, to the original series. It's unlikely that I will get that ever because right now the cheapest one that I see for sale is around $700. It's like I would love to have it, but I'm not going to pay $700 for it. But Evangelion is definitely. It's weird about some. I've learned with anime releases, when I hear about them, I have taken up the habit of buying 2 copies, and I leave one of them sealed so that maybe I can sell one of them later to help me bankroll a purchase of finally getting that Evangelion soundtrack if it ever comes down in price. So yeah, that's it for that round. I got one more round of 3 records, which has 2 records that I think at least one of them Chris is probably anticipating. But I'll leave that up to him.
All right, so I'm going to show it. So and do
that's one of them.
A Freak Victim. So I knew Richard has this record, and at some point he was going to show it. So there's the guy he's eating. And now what I have, which you may not have, Richard, is I have the Flag of Niger color variant.
I do not have that color variant. Nope, I do not.
Yeah, so the green, orange, and white.
Cool looking.
Yeah.
It is cool looking. I haven't really noticed any problem with clicks, but now that you guys have put that in my mind, then maybe I'm going to have a problem with it. So again, I know I've made a video about that. I know Richard's talked about that a lot. I don't think we're the only ones in the vinyl community, but I mean,
Steve Carlson's talked about
Steve Carlson, yeah. So yeah. I mean, if you've heard people talking about like that Sahel blues, desert blues, and you want a first record, that wouldn't be a bad place to start. So
yeah.
And then the other thing that I'm going to show is this was by Kramer. So this was a box set called Make Art, Make Love, Die. So I guess those are your goals for your life. So there's I think 5 or 6 records in this. This was one of those Joyful Noise artist in residency box sets, and of course Kramer had been a long time with Shimmy Disc, and so a lot of these records I find sort of sound like creepy soundtracks, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, you can see it's Joyful Noise and Shimmy Disc, so they're both credited on here. And these are again sort of like I think I showed the Thor Harris ones last week. These are kind of like when I'm in sort of a mellow mood, but I don't want to listen to, but I want it to be a little bit off kilter while being mellow. These are the sort of records I would listen to. Let's see if I don't remember if they're they're all on different fancy colors of vinyl. So you got sort of this clearish brownish one here, and the wind blew it all away. So and I know I didn't order the box set this year. I don't remember the reason why. It may have been an artist I wasn't that interested in. So for films edited by Moths. So and then this one, Words and Music Book 1. So you can see there's some poetry readings involved there. Various people, their words, and then Kramer makes the music. And so that's going to do it for me for 2021.
All right.
Okay. I'm waiting. My wife she's out with dog, but I'm waiting her to come back. But I can call one record here. It's Lucifer. I didn't find the LP. This is their 4th record. It's a Swedish hard rock band, and they are with the Nicky Anderson is the main character here, and the Johanna, his wife is the singer here, and the album was like 35 euros when they released it, so it was so expensive. I go with the CD, only 15 euros, and I bought it from the band from the gig, and they was quite productive band in the 2021 because they also made two 7-inches, one split 7-inch with the Cadaver, the German band. They are doing like also these 70s influenced hard rock, and both songs are here. There are some cover version of the 70s songs, but I admit I can't read what the original bands are. But Lucifer is doing cover of Pull Away so many times, and Cadaver is the green Manalishi with two prong crown. I don't know what's the original.
Oh, the Green Manalishi?
Yes.
That's a Peter Green, famous Peter Green jam.
Yeah, okay.
And Judas Priest did a famous cover of it.
Yeah. And then the another single is this one, Lucifer, and their team with the Blues Pills singer Eileen Larsson here. This is actually, I think this is better. And the song is here, Gone with the Wind is My Love. And in the B-side is a live version of Cemetery Eyes of the Lucifers. I think this was their third album, the Cemetery Eyes. It's Lucifer, it's very good band. They have very catchy songs. They started as a doom metal, but they are now turned to the 70s style of hard rock. And I think it's better now. And I think they're also doing new album probably later this year. I have that kind of feelings. But Lucifer from Sweden, one of the best bands around doing at the moment hard rock field.
And I'm not so much a singles or a 7-inch single collector, but I do, it's on my list to get the Fleetwood Mac Peter Green recording of the Green Manalishi, because you can hear it performed on the Boston Tea Party record set as part of a live show, but it was never released on a Fleetwood Mac studio release. So it's really only available as a 7-inch single.
I like 7 inches. I just yesterday listed this big pile of 7 inches that I haven't listed. I just bought from the riff source and just played to my wife. There was quite many disco tracks from the 80s and a couple of Finnish tracks also from the 80s and 70s. And then bands that I have just bought because the cover looked cool. I didn't know, and the price was €1. Couple of funk 7 inches and things like that.
Yeah, it's been in my Discogs want list for a long time. It's not like it's going to be difficult for me, and it's not that expensive to buy one. It's just my mind is not always in the 7-inch think, so I don't always think, I'll finally buy a copy or whatever.
But you are easier hide these 7 inches home, and your wife don't notice that. more albums.
Right.
I'm living with that kind of problems here.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Heard the stories about the guys who will have their record orders delivered at a friend's house so that it doesn't get delivered home, so the wife doesn't know that they just spent
that bad situation yet, but I never. Oh, I have that record many months now.
Yeah. Right. I hear you. All right. So closing things out then. So yes, I do have the Mdu Maktar. The other two albums I got here, wasn't sure if you were going to show this one. Sturgill Simpson, the volume 2 of Cutting Grass was released.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to pull that one. I have that one as well.
This is on very nice. It's a blue with some white splatter in there. Marbling, actually, it's not splatters. marbling, but good record like that. And then after a 9-year hiatus, the Wallflowers released a new record and called Exit Wounds, which is a lot of the songs are kind of breakup songs, I guess, in many ways. And so, yeah, I picked that up because I like the Wallflowers. I have almost everything they've released, but not all of it is on vinyl. A lot of it is on CD.
Mine's the blue.
I see you've got
a
that's
slightly different variant. It's
with the
it's a
cut
little
and
bit dark.
grass.
It's a little bit darker than yours. I mean,
Yeah,
it's still blue, but it's got more of a blackish swirl to it.
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the thing with the color variants that are of the splatter or marbling, because they're not. Everyone is different,
Yeah.
because of the way they mix the colors. And this one by the Wallflowers is on this sort of it's a purple. Yeah, it's purple. Don't know what it looks like on for you guys, but it's a purple vinyl, solid color to match the overall. I mean, everything about the record is kind of with this purple theme going on. So I kind of like that when they do a color variant and it matches everything else that's going on with the cover and the inserts.
Yeah.
I like that kind of planning when they do that.
Yeah.
And I do like the Wallflowers. So this was a pleasant surprise to see them release something after 9 years of silence. I just thought they were like done.
Yeah. And like the Sturgill with like the dark blue. And then the first Cutting Grass mine was on yellow and green to match the John Deere tractor. And he was mowing the lawn.
I think mine is too. I can't remember what it is.
So I actually like the second one of the Cutting Grasses better.
And it's just one record. And, because sometimes the double albums, you get a lot of filler. And in the second, the volume 2 is just on one record. So it is all really good songs. Well, thanks guys for joining today. Thanks. And thanks everyone who was in the audience watching and stuck with us. And
I think you said it at the beginning of the show, but are we going to do 2022 next week, or is this where?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got my records already listed for 2022. I've got like 7 or so, and I've been recently buying some new ones, so I may even have a couple more. Yeah, but it may be the end. I may go on a hiatus. Maybe do this just once a year. Like we'll do 2023, but maybe it'll be in early 2024.
I have already like 7-8 2023 records.
Yeah, right. So and I've already got a few records that were new releases from this year.
I got like 2 or 3 for this year, a few others on pre-order that haven't arrived yet for 2023.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But hey, see you.
Yes,
Sunday,
thank you.
And I try to get my entry for you contest out, Chris, in Wednesday, I think.
Okay, no problem. You still have a month.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Almost
Bye-bye.
a month.
Yep. Thank you. And we'll see you all and everybody else.
Bye-bye.
Remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead. See y'all.